Welcome to the top 5 Aphex Twin EPs. Sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage of choice, and let's get into it. Aphex Twin is also known as Richard D. James, composer, producer, DJ, pioneer of electronic music. I made this list because when you are trying to get into Aphex Twin, he has a daunting amount of music, and much of his best stuff is not even on his full-length LPs. He doesn't care about categorizing his legacy that easily, but you will find great stuff on the EPs, on even music that doesn't go by the moniker Aphex Twin, but that's a whole nother section. But for now, we're going to just look at his EPs, which has some of his best music, and we're going to rank the top 5. Number 5 is Black Box Life Recorder 21F/In a Room F760. This is the most recent EP by Aphex Twin. I believe it's his latest music offering altogether. And if you want to know whether you will get into this EP, listen to the video of the title track. It has like a dark city Inception type thing going on with buildings folding in on one another, and the music is like the video. It gives off this ominous tone, and it sort of is asking you whether you like it or whether you want to dig in. In many ways, it reminds me of the ambient music on Selected Ambient Works too, and that you'll kind of know within the first 30 seconds whether this is for you, and then it just starts kind of growing on you as you give it more time and more space. It doesn't move in lots of directions, but sort of its tone and atmosphere takes over. It's the opening title track is my favorite track on the album. I wouldn't call the rest filler, but maybe it's not as strong as that opening track. So that's why I have it here at number 5. And number 4, we have the Donkey Rhubarb EP. Great title for an EP. This was released in 1995, and its full album, brother would be I Care Because You Do. And this EP is kind of like some of his other ones, where it has a fantastic opener and a fantastic closer, and then it has some filler in between. But this makes number 4 on the list because of how good its opener is, and especially how good its closer, Pancake Lizard, is. The opener, Donkey Rhubarb, has a great sort of bell that comes in the 4-minute mark. If you are putting it on, or however you want to stream or listen to it, go to the 4-minute mark and just feel how that bell comes in, and it just takes the song to a new level. I love that. I love that part of the track. And then Pancake Lizard is sort of like Girl and Boy on the 1996 self-titled full-length album, which is known as one of his, best songs. I think this song is almost easily up there with that track. And again, an excellent opener and closer for Donkey Rhubarb. So that puts it at number 4. Number 3 is the Window Licker EP. Window Licker is the Aphex Twin song. Whether you love it or hate it, it encapsulates who Aphex Twin is. It came around at the end of the 90s. I think it's the best song of the 90s, or at least in the top 5 best songs of the 90s. I think it's his greatest achievement. The in and out rhythms, the warped voices, that shoegaze ending is just excellent. I love this track. It really put him in a new stratosphere of popularity as well. Now in the IDM scene that looks a little different, right, than other genres. But it really did put him even more on the map. The last track, again, Nanu, is a beautiful little piece. In title and in sound, it foreshadows the 2001 album Drux. And sounds a lot like it belongs on that album. It's a beautiful piece. This is number 3 though, because the in-between tracks and that the track with the cymbals that I'll never be able to, put through my mind, it kind of brings the EP down a little. So that's why I have it at number 3. Number 2 is the Come to Daddy EP. Aphex Twin has never been creepier than on this EP and music video. I mean, just look at that cover. It still gives me nightmares to this day. I don't like to look at it if I don't have to. But this is right when IDM and electronic music is booming, 1997. And a lot of critics at the time said this EP took the genre to higher planes. And I think it still is not the strongest on a song-to-song basis, but it covers so many genres that it is just one of the most interesting pieces of electronic music to come out. You got the Demented opener that is frightening. It's enthralling. You've got the short and sweet Flynn, which is my favorite track on this EP and one of my favorite Aphex Twin tracks easily. It's short and sweet and beautiful. I love the first 2.5 minutes of Bouncing Ball, or however you pronounce that first word in that title. That one stops you in your tracks. And then it completely goes downhill with the repeating ball bouncing and scratching for 2.5 minutes. I'm sure somebody loves that. I do not. Come to Daddy EP is often heralded as peak Aphex Twin. And I think there's a strong argument that it could be the greatest EP, but it is not for me. My number 1 is the more recent T69 Collapse. Now, Richard James released this right after Cyro, that 2013 album, and I think it's one of his strongest EPs because it doesn't have the 2 great tracks or 1 great track and a bunch of filler. It has a great track, the opener. I think it is one of probably his best songs of the 2010s. But the rest of the songs don't go down in quality, right? You have the great Abundance. You have the great PH Text. These songs would not feel out of place on a full EP. And you add to a strong track list, a great sound, a great mood, just like those little bass synths on T69, it just becomes this groove that carries you, right? You don't listen for what's going to happen next. The groove sort of takes you in and carry you into whatever madness that Richard James has planned for you. So it was my favorite release in 2018, and it is my pick for the number 1 EP by Aphex Twin.